Are you ready? Let's go. Ready?
Ready.
Yeah, ready when you are.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Holden Shepherd, Heidi Anderson, Jan Latter, Alison Patterson, welcome to my little show.
Why do you call it a little chat show?
Jan Nichols, Sam Eichen, Annabelle Smith, Donna Mazza, Rebecca Watson, Jonelle Fraser, Tracy Jacobson, Adam Wallace, Monique Mulligan, Matt Glover, Karen Young. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Welcome to my show. Welcome to another episode of Josh Langley Gets to Know. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe on the YouTube channel, and you'll get a little ding notification and be the first to know when a new interview is put up. Today I am talking to the amazing Amelia McInerney. She is the author of the new book that's just come out called Who Fed Zed. She's written a whole bunch of other books as well. Great children's picture book writer, very prolific. Now, Who Fed Zed is out by Allen and Unwin. That's going to be released, I think it's today is the release date. I think today being Saturday, the day I launch it. Great story behind it. It's a story that I think a lot of parents could understand, especially with kids with food allergies. Okay, so that's the story. Also, we have a chat about Amelia's sort of her life, why she got into writing books, how she got published and stuff like that. So it's a fascinating interview. So sit back, pour a glass of wine, cup of coffee. I know you can't go many places because most places are in lockdown. Anyway, let's get to know Amelia McInerney. Amelia McInerney, thank you so much for joining me. How are you going?
Good, thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's exciting times. You've got a new book coming out, Who Fed Zed. Now, tell us a little bit about the book.
So here it is here.
Oh, there it is.
So I wrote it, Adam Nichols illustrated it, and it's written in mono-rhyme. So every single line of the story, and I think it's around 370 words, rhymes with the same word, Zed. So
right.
Yeah.
Was that hard to do? Was that hard to write?
Well, it was just the strangest thing writing this book. It just came to me, and I pants everything anyway, so I never know what's happening until I write the next line of rhyme. And it all just sort of came like that. It was just amazing. And
wow.
I didn't know what was happening. It's quite a complicated plot twist or two in this one, and I didn't consciously plan that. So it was so weird. It just sort of came in and came through really quickly.
Wow. It's almost like you created this space for this creativity to drop in.
Yeah, it felt amazing. The book was actually done in 4 days, and yes, I held on to it for months to edit it.
Yep.
But the plot didn't really change. But these 4 days, I was just writing all day and late into the night, and it just felt so wonderful. And I was worried that this magic would stop and I'd be stuck with this half-finished story. So I wanted to, I was still eating, sleeping and doing things like that. But it was just incredible. And it just sort of stopped when the story stopped. So it was...
It's sort of like being in the zone a bit, isn't it? When you get into that space.
Yeah. Yeah, it really felt like I was really in the zone.
So what's the actual story? What's the story about? What's the sort of thumbnail sketch?
It's 4 friends and a dog and a goldfish, and there's a bit of a mix-up with what Zed, the goldfish, is fed. And so it's called Who Fed Zed. And so we work out what happens with Zed, and Zed has some food restrictions that we're told about at the start of the book. Yeah. And so it can be taken as, the message could be taken as what you shouldn't feed a goldfish, because that's a good enough message in itself. But the message can be applied to kids with food allergies or food insensitivities as well. So it offers that as an extra layer on top of the fun and wacky story that it is in itself.
So I believe that the food allergy side was inspired by personal experience?
Yeah, I've got 3 kids, and my eldest, who's almost 13, has anaphylaxis to a few different nuts. Ooh. And so, yeah, it's really, it's.
So she carries the EpiPen.
Yeah, EpiPen everywhere we go. And so she was diagnosed with that peanut allergy at first when she was 13 months. And it was when she was 4, I made a mistake that I still feel terrible about, but there was a mix-up, much like in the story, but I actually gave her a muesli bar that contained peanut. And, you know, the bottom line is, if I had read that label on that actual bar, I would have noticed that. But, you know, companies swap and change how they make their foods and on what lines and what has traces and things like that. But anyway, that stayed with me because I felt so horrible because she was only 4 and she reacted, and I haven't done that since, and she is nearly 13. But I think this book came in, you know, as I was saying before, so, you know, in the zone, because it was so like emotionally like it was such a strong thing that happened in my life. Like I can hear my voice is wavering now just talking about it still, but I make funny rhyming picture books, and so my brain turned that horrible serious incident into the thing that I make. And I hope that it's just a fun story, but it might offer something extra in the way of having conversations about, well, what happened there, and why did Zed you know, get sick and things like that. But so yeah, I think it was that memory.
Was it a bit healing and a bit cathartic to write it then?
I didn't realize I was writing about that incident or food allergy at all when I was writing the book. I thought I was just writing this new story. It was only when I finished writing it, I realized that it's about being careful about food label reading. And the book touches on household poisons as well. I don't want to spoil the story.
Yeah, don't give it away.
Conversations with kids about, being careful about what, you know, you consume around the house as well, looking at the labeling. But it wasn't until I'd done the book that I realized it was from that incident. And that's where it came from. And I think that's why it came in so thick and fast, because it was, you know, bubbling away in my brain for so many years. But I think it shows how writing is this amazing thing, that it can help you work things out. And, you know, if I look at the book now, like I've made the goldfish the one with the food allergy problem. So there's distance. You know, you can't have a story about a child with a food allergy. That wouldn't be fun or funny. That's too scary.
Yeah.
But you can. I mean, who hasn't flung a goldfish down the toilet? You know, you can. You can do that. But
poor little goldfish.
And so I'm Fred in the book. The kids are Ted and Ned and Fred. But we don't get to know him really well. But there's no blame laid in the story. It's just it's very nice. It models a lot of good things about finding out, the other characters finding out about Zed's food restrictions. So I've done all these things without consciously doing them, which is amazing, I think.
I think that is, but it's also the importance of the topic to keep front of mind for a lot of parents and for kids to be aware. You know, when they're at school and they're sharing play lunch or something like that, and they become aware of someone who may, as you said, have food restrictions, and understand why and how that's important.
Yeah, and you can't, you know, it wouldn't be a commercially viable picture book to have like an informational pamphlet about be careful about this, don't do this. So it's using humour to broach that serious topic and keep the engagement. And a lot of people probably won't even pick up this food allergy issue at all. They'll just think it's about what you shouldn't feed a goldfish. But it's an extra thing that some people might pick up on, or that teachers or parents might want to bring up with their kids, as you know, and use the book as an in for that conversation.
Have you got teacher notes for the book as well?
Yeah, Allen and Unwin just sent me some yesterday, actually. So
fantastic. Does it in the teacher notes, does it mention that the book can be used as a conversation starter for those?
Yeah, that's in there.
Yep,
the allergy and the household poisons and the label reading is in amongst definitely.
No, okay.
And as well as some fun rhyming activities because of the mono-rhyme and the focus on the language as well. So
I have to admit, Amelia, I am the worst person at rhyming ever. It's like if I try and rhyme, it's like it ends up in a disaster. So I leave it to the experts like yourself to create rhyming books. It's like Josh and rhyming do not go together. Now, I was going to say, what started you writing kids' books? I know you see you got kids, but what started you on that path?
The birth of the third one was my light bulb moment when she was probably 2 or 3 weeks old, and I was reading to her, and it was just like, bing, I want to write these picture books. And it came out left field because I was a sonographer, which is ultrasound, been a sonographer for 15 years before I gave that up a year ago. So something very different, and I just fell in love with it, and now I write full time, and I don't know what I did with myself before I wrote. It's so funny that you can, have a change in the whole direction of your life, can't you? It's amazing.
Does it feel right? Does it feel like this is the direction you want to go?
Yeah, I think I've found the perfect thing for me, writing funny picture books.
If there was one piece of advice you wish you'd been given before you started on this journey, what would it be?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Or you're just loving discovering it all as you go?
Yeah, there's so many unknowns in doing this. You never know when you're going to be published, if you're going to be published. I try to think of it as when and not if, but you never really know, and you don't know whether you've got one book in you. I've got a few more coming out, but I still don't know, am I going to do this until I'm 1,000,000 years old? So you sort of have to have a lot of tenacity and strength in yourself if you want to keep doing this, I think, and just keep persisting and just keep going and just, I don't know, just keep checking in with yourself. I love it, but it would be hard to do if I wasn't picked up. It'd be, you having to manage your other job and things like that. It's a tough path, so I'm not one to give out advice to others. Everyone's different, I think.
I mean, I was going to say, because you have published books through different publishers, and so how did you get your first publisher? Did you go through an agent or direct to the publisher? How did you go?
I was just at a little Squibby event in Sydney when I was living in the Blue Mountains.
Yay for Squibby, everyone. Yay for Squibby. All around the state, all around Australia. Brilliant. Thank you.
Being the light shining down on me right now. Sorry about that. So I got chatting with the publisher of my first 3 books, which is Claire Halifax from Omnibus Books, which is one of Scholastic's imprints. And so it probably, I don't think it would have happened if I hadn't gone to that event, because Scholastic don't have a slush pile. And it was just this weird combination of events, how I had just flown down to Melbourne to go to another Squibby event and listen to my agent speak. And so I just come back from that and booked her for an assessment at Kidlit Vic, which is another great writing conference, and just found out that Claire wanted to take all 3 of the texts to acquisitions. So I said, 2 of those texts, you're going to critique them. What should I do? And would you be interested in representing me? And I just met her, and she said yes. So it was a strange coincidence of events that aligned for me, which, so I think a lot of luck.
But the thing is, you showed up as well. You turned up. You went to these events, and you went out, and a lot of people don't. They just sit at home hoping, or something like that.
I thought I was paving the way for years down the track, and she might remember me from some conference I met her at years down the track. And I left, I think my little one was 14 months or 16 months, and the youngest of the 3, and I flew to Melbourne to see this, $30 agent Squibby event, my agent speak at that, and that paid off, didn't it?
That was a very good investment for $30.
Yeah, so maybe get out and about is my advice.
I totally agree with that. I mean, you've got to get out. You've got to meet people. You've got to mingle. You've got to make networks. You've got to make connections, because a lot of it, as you would know now, is it's who you know and who can help you or who can put your name forward and all that sort of stuff. That's a really strong point, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of the people in the industry want to see someone before they sign them, perhaps. It must be hard signing someone that you're not sure, if they're a normal person or, if they're a nice person, if they could imagine themselves working with that person. So I think if you're getting out and about on the conference circuit or whatever, you can at least be sort of seen and known among circles, and I think that really helps a new writer.
You're not such an unknown, which is, I think, even if people have heard of you, your name is very vaguely familiar. They go, okay, I'll be interested in that. Now, I want to ask you, your children's book, the Book Chook, that is a really existential kind of bizarre story. How did that come? I mean, I can imagine a child reading that and having their mind blown by going about this chicken that really wants to be alive, but it's actually just realizing he's just an illustration. How did you come up with that?
That just came to me as well. You know, my mind is a strange place, Josh. You know,
It's sounding like it.
I've got this ray of light on my face. Sorry.
It's a beautiful ray of light. You're lit perfectly.
I can't get away from them. Okay. All right.
Go.
So that came to me as well. So that was in the shower. What a cliche, and that's never happened since. So.
But wow! But what sort of response have you got from parents and kids regarding that particular book and that story?
People like the fun of that one. You know, the humour in that one is fun. I think it's playful. I don't know, I think it's a new idea. So yeah, I think, and Connor Brecken did a brilliant job at really bringing that sort of zany humour to life in the illustrations. So yeah, I love Ray the Book Chook. So
I was going to say, because you have different illustrators for most of your books. How do you is it almost like each book it's its own separate entity? It's not like, say with mine books, I'm the illustrator, so they all look the same. But with yours, they all have a different feel and a different vibe, and obviously a different way of rhyming and a different. So are they all just completely separate entities? How does that work?
Yeah, I just write each one, and you know, when you sell the text, the publisher will work on the illustrator. So I actually suggested Adam Nichol for Who Fed Zed, because I loved his first book, No One Likes a Fart. I loved that mid-century style, and I thought it would suit, and Allen and Unwin agreed. And but sometimes you're not asked at all, and it's just sort of up to the publisher. So
right, you don't have a say. They don't sort of throw a couple of illustrators at you and say which one. What's your vibe?
I think different publishers do different things. I think my Scholastic publisher likes to assign the publisher herself, the illustrator herself. And with my Walker book, that was very much more collaborative. And Allen and Unwin was so we did have those conversations. But I think it very much depends on who your publisher is, or how the house works.
Now, what's coming up for you next? I know I've heard somewhere you've got a couple more books in the pipeline.
Yes, another funny rhyming picture book out in a few months with Scholastic. That's a nursery rhyme retelling, an interwoven retelling. So that's stars Mary Had a Little Lamb, where we'll find out what really happened to her. And
I've been wanting to find that one out.
Another funny rhyming one is in the pipeline with Walker. So that's very exciting. And another one under offer that I can't say too much about. But that one's not rhyming. So I don't always do rhymes. So
just to throw a spanner in the works. So I was going to say, because you alluded to earlier that this is now your full-time gig, because you gave up work. So what other things around the book writing are you doing to generate revenue? Are you doing school visits and stuff like that?
Yeah, I didn't do any through 2020. I wasn't too interested in getting on the online thing with the picture book market. But yes, I am now. I'm in Canberra now, so I'm doing some school visits and just getting out, doing signings for each book and launches. I sort of just do something different for each book, depending on my trip to Melbourne and Sydney for Who Fed Zed will have to be postponed because of the COVID situation that suddenly popped up.
I know. We're recording this on a Tuesday, and Perth's just gone into lockdown over the last.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm south. I'm in the southwest of WA, so I'm not in lockdown now. But Perth has just gone into a 4-day lockdown. So by the time this goes to air, it may have lifted or it may not. Depends on how many cases get turned up. but obviously Sydney's in lockdown and Melbourne's doing really well. But Canberra, I think Canberra, you are on restrictions at the moment?
We're just wearing masks indoors,
okay.
and they made us an orange zone, which means we can't travel interstate very easily because of our proximity to Sydney.
Yep. Understandable.
Fingers crossed. I've had my one shot, and I can't wait to get the second one. So.
I've had mine. I've had my Pfizer, as what I heard someone say. Pfizer has a Pfizer. And I'm waiting to have the second one. And I think the more everyone goes and gets vaccinated, the better we all will be, and we all get back to business as usual and promoting our books and stuff like that. Now, Amelia, I ask this question of everyone. What lights you up?
In terms of writing?
Or in terms of anything? Anything.
Wow, what lights me up? I really do love picture books. I love funny things. Like I love TV, funny movies and TV shows. But I'm really addicted to rhyme. I think that's what attracts me most to writing. I don't know why.
Is the iambic pentameter, the pace, the rhythm, that movement? It's almost a movement, isn't it, when you rhyme? It's a physical thing.
Yeah. I did play a lot of music in high school and uni, and I think, there's that rhythm that I like having with the words, and then there's rhythm in non-rhyming picture books too, isn't there? So
yeah. But I know that kids love rhyming books, absolutely love them. So you're on a winner there. So you're going to be, if restrictions or whatever, you're going to be doing a sort of like a book tour for Who Fed Zed?
Well,
or a virtual book tour now.
Yeah, I will. I was going to do it starting, this Saturday in the upcoming, but with Sydney and the non-travel to Melbourne, it'll happen, but a little bit later. So I'm not sure exactly when I'll get to Melbourne and Sydney, but I will. Watch this space.
Okay, I like that. Where there's a will, there's a way. Look, Amelia, I wish you every success with Who Fed Zed and all your upcoming books. I think you're an inspiration. So thank you so much for being on my show.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
What are we gonna do?